I'm Joe Normal, and you're watching Guitar Tales with Dave Cohen and Scott Guitarmas Assemble. Have a rockin' day.
I love that intro. I love that intro. And by the way, the Noise Network music that Scott put together is just so freaking cool. No, it's so fucking cool. Anyway, as we do all the time, let's start by thanking our great, not sponsor, but sponsors. Let's start out with the Confections of a Rock Star. Absolutely fantastic. I've been there a bunch of times. I miss it. I need to go back. Right in the middle of Asbury Park. If you know Asbury Park, you know this place. Great food, great people, and as I always like to say with my dog who's sleeping right there on the couch, they have pooch food, but it doesn't end there. If it's still part of it, and Scott might correct me if I'm wrong, there's Alice Cooper. Do we no longer have burgers inside? I will know in a minute. We do! We have burgers inside. Little Andy's Burgers, they're another sponsor. So 2 sponsors, 1 building. The burgers are absolutely delicious by cool people in a cool place in a cool town. This is an intermezzo show tonight. Scott and I love doing these. We've been chatting all day, and we were chatting before, and Scott wisely said, let's stop, because every time Scott and I have a conversation, it's a show. So that's what we're doing right now. And I will toast my dear friend and producer and publicist and co-host, Scott Guitarmas Stengel, with...
Oh, you're too kind.
Yeah, and this is the cup. Salud. So this is a cup. You, Aaron, and I were over at Delicious Orchards.
Yeah, that crazy place.
Yeah, that crazy wild place. We started with there. Then there's a little brewery there. And you guys talked me into getting this yogurt with a... And it's not yogurt anymore, but it's a cool cup. So I got a bunch of these for espresso, but I'm having my my wine.
So the 2 of us are going to be tanked by the end of the show, which is perfect because I am celebrating and reveling in the fact that I am on staycation for 12 amazing days.
That is amazing.
The retail pharmacy world full of flu shots and woe and problems with the computers, and I can't even tell you what a hell of a week I had.
Yeah, you and I both had rough days today, and you keep people alive.
Tonight, as you know, as we do every show, I like to change up the guitars I have behind me. Tonight,
that's a good-looking guitar.
Royal by Bootlegger Guitar, Hermosa, California. Our good friend Chuck Wilson, heading up his little shop there in Hermosa Beach, California. We need to get out there and hang out in that amazing studio / store / whatever. There's an early bootlegger, yeah. His
guitar.
line of guitars is amazing, and he's coming out with new stuff all the time. They've got an acoustic guitar coming out. It's probably already out. He's got pedals. He's got cases. He's got stands. He's just like keeps ever expanding the world of Bootlegger. In fact, we're gonna have Chuck back on to talk about what's new at Bootlegger because it's been a minute since
I had 1/4 of John Doe and the Generics staying over last night, who was playing through my Bootlegger tube amp.
Yes, they do amplifiers as well.
And I'll tell you what, that amp, like the wine I'm drinking, gets better with age. When the tubes have warmed up, I've had it about 3 years now.
Yeah, that is a thing. When the tubes get warmed up, it becomes more and more amazing, which is really great.
Yeah, really great sound. So we have a great show tonight. All my notes are on my cell phone, but we're talking about guitar players, either underappreciated, maybe on your list. I guarantee you there'll be people I've never heard of, which means some of our fans, to the extent we have fans, might not have heard of them. And
we do have fans. We should thank our fans because our numbers are growing exponentially. Especially, you guys really love the best of podcast audios that we've been putting up.
Yep.
Thousands and thousands of listens and downloads every week. We really appreciate you supporting the show.
Yeah, I took a look. I was with friends talking about our show, and I went on YouTube and I said, I don't know, I guess we have about 4,000 or 5,000 followers, but we're over
much more than that.
About 8,100.
We're approaching the 9,000 mark, hopefully soon.
Yeah. So
It has a
now-
way of feeding itself after, because the people tend to look at the new content, and that's what the algorithms will show you, the new stuff. But we have a huge library of shows, and that's the
Yeah.
whole idea behind putting up the best ofs on
Right.
podcasts, because we've had some really amazing guests over the
We
last
have. Well,
month.
here's the thing. It's when you look at the two faces that are on the screen right now, it's an incredible testament to our content that people are tuning in because
Yeah.
there must be something good about the content if
There's
these
nobody
are the
famous
faces.
on this show. Every
Yeah.
intermezzo show is just you and I. But
Yeah.
listen, the people I'm going to mention tonight, feel free to come on the show, especially the first guy I want to talk about
All
tonight.
right, you want to? Let's jump right in.
You want me to start?
I want you to start.
All right. So these are, Rolling Stone put out like a list of like the 100 greatest guitar players of all time, and I'm sure that these guys will be on the list at some level. But these are my personal sort of unsung, underrated, big overused word, guitar players in my life, in my guitar playing life, who inspired me to play, and taught me to play the old school way by playing videotapes and cassettes and records
Right.
before YouTube. Um, Massive fans of these guys. Now they're sort of, with the exception of one player, they're sort of in the same genre.
Right.
That's my jam.
Right.
I could talk about country guys. I could talk about jazz guys. There's a gazillion of those.
Roy Clark almost made your list.
How'd you know that? Oh, I told you.
You did.
Yeah, the great Roy Clark.
Yeah.
Definitely blown away.
But
He inspired me as a player, but I didn't really take any of his techniques away.
no.
The guys I'm going to list tonight definitely influenced my playing. Okay.
All right, let's hear it.
We get the big shots, your Van Halens, and your Randy Rhodes, but these guys are a little less appreciated than those fellows, but just as important as far as I'm concerned and to my life of playing guitar. So without further ado, the first fella on my list is Brad Gillis from Night Ranger.
He's your favorite in the world. I know that.
I love Brad Gillis.
Yeah.
I'm dying to have Brad Gillis on the show. The thing is, even at this stage of the game, Night Ranger is busy.
Right.
They are touring. I follow him on Instagram, and he is just constantly busy with touring. And I love his guitar. I love his tone.
That was the
stage
first thing I
presence.
was going to say. His tone, and you know what else? Like we always talk about in the show, he always services the song.
Yes,
He
he does. Yeah,
and that might be why people don't think about him because he's not about ego.
that's a great point. I mean, a
I
lot
make
of these
them
guys are
once in a
sort of
while.
behind the scenes, and but I'm noticing. Of course, Brad is famously gifted when it comes to the whammy bar, and he had the third Floyd Rose ever made put on
Wow.
that guitar of his, which I don't know. It's an incredible guitar, and I don't know how that thing stays in tune, because when I first started learning some Night Ranger songs and I pulled up on my tremolo or some instant string breakage.
Wait, how was that? Okay.
So the other thing we're going to do tonight is not only going to talk about these guys, we're going to put in the description below a link to the song, like that one song that I think
Yeah, give me your best
sort of
Night
shows
Ranger
off
song.
that guy.
What-
So, everybody might say Sister Christian, like
Yeah.
super overplayed, great solo. Like you said, services the song.
Yep.
But check out Sentimental Street.
Okay.
Sentimental Street has it all. It's got the two-handed tapping in there. It's got fiery, fast licks. It's got whammy bar tricks. It's incredible. Great song, and it's just a little song within a song, and that's sort of the common denominator, if you will, of some of my selections tonight.
I like that.
So Brad Gillis, Sentimental Street, famously played with Jeff Watson, and Jeff was sort of a technical, quick pick
Right.
player.
Okay, got
his
Yep.
picking style. Brad had some picking style, but he had other tricks up his sleeve, which I really liked.
All right. I love it.
Yeah.
I'll give you my first on my list. I've got Ron Wood, who is not unknown
I
by
never
any
heard of him.
stretch. Yeah, I know. But here's why he's on my list.
Go ahead.
because when people talk about the Stones and the world of guitar, it's always Keith Richards. He only uses 5 strings. He uses all these cool tunings. He has 1,000 times the stage presence of Ron Wood. And I agree with all that. And we all love Keith Richards. At least I do. But Ron Wood, if you go all the way back to his days with the Faces, and remember, you had not Keith Moon, you had Kenny Jones, who later joined the Who.
Right.
He was their drummer, and his tone, his playing, the authenticness of the sound and the musicality of what exited his guitar was just outstanding. That mixed with Rod's voice, which is probably my top 3 favorite rock and roll vocalists of all
Iconic
time.
vocal.
Yeah. And the song I'm thinking of, which in my old house, in my barn, I sort of kind of learned how to play, which is Losing You, which I know they didn't pen that song, that Rod and he, that predates them. But their version of Losing You and his guitar work on that, it's not that it's technically masterful or anything, but it
doesn't have to be. Sometimes it's about the tone and the chord choices, right?
Yeah. And I just love his playing. And I almost feel badly for Rod when, he lost him to the Stones. And you get it, as big as Rod is, the Stones are that much bigger. And the Stones, all on good terms, took him away. But that band, The Faces, if you're not familiar with The Faces, just take a deep dive. To me, if you do it on any of the music apps, it'll sort of mix it up with Rod Stewart's regular solo career. But when he was with The Faces and they had Kenny on drums, and obviously they had Jeff Beck for some time, but Ron Wood's guitar playing is just fantastic.
Awesome.
It's authentic.
And I have the unique position that being a cover band guitar player, I have to copy a lot of the guys you're talking about, and I had to copy Ron Wood for a song we did, and I had to bust out the slide. And,
which one? Which song?
Oh God! Now you put me on the spot. There's a video of me doing it. On
all right, we'll find it. We will find it.
I hear the song in my head. I just don't know what the hell it's called off the top of my head. So the next guy I want to bring to the forefront. Now this is really cool. I would like to hear from some of the young players in the comments, like, "Whoa, I never heard of that guy or those guys before," and I took your advice and I clicked on the link in the description, and wow, you're right. That guy is amazing. So the next guy is Elliot Easton. Elliot was the guitar player for the Cars.
Right. Oh my God, so tasty.
Zillion hits and videos in the 80s.
Yep.
But every one of his solos.
Oh my God.
Again, a song within a song.
So let me do you know this? Who was doing the studio work for them? Because their recordings were so crisp and just sort of so full and 3-dimensional.
They were 3-dimensional. I don't know who gets credit for that, honestly.
Yeah.
I should know that being a guitar nerd, but I just don't off the top of my head anyway.
His tone was fat.
Well, Elliot, he had different kinds of tones for different kinds of songs.
Yeah, that's true too.
He was actually a Kramer artist at some point, and they actually built an Elliot Easton Strat for him.
Interesting.
That you could buy from Kramer, and they're fairly rare as I understand it. But check out Just What I Needed, and you guys probably heard that song before, but pay attention to the solo. It's a little rock. There's some country licks in there to go with it, with a little slapback echo, almost as if he should be playing a Gretsch or something, and maybe he was. And he's left-handed too, which makes it even more complicated to learn Elliot Easton songs. And I have tried to learn some, and barely got by learning some of his solos. They're very tricky, and they're just not normal.
I love that. And I fully agree with you. Very few of us know his name. I mean, you said it, I knew it, but I almost had to think before I was sure I knew it. Here's my next one, and I had to do it, and I'm looking down at my phone right now because I had no idea who these guys were. So we all know, most of us know the song "Sweet Jane."
Yeah,
not written by Lou Reed, but I don't think he wrote it. He does a great studio version, but if you just, I do it on Apple Music. There is a live version. So if you ask for Siri to play it, you'll get the live version. You will not get
So we're
the,
going to put up the link in the
yeah.
description so we make sure we get the right one.
Yeah. So I Googled this. So what's interesting, this is a 4-chord song. I actually jammed it horribly, I'll admit, for Todd, friend of the show, Todd Yasui's 60th birthday a little over a year ago in LA. We had about 5 guitar players, one of whom is a relatively successful actor, very successful actor, who is the best guitar player among us. But we were just doing the 4 chords thing. Well, this version of the song, which I highly, highly recommend people listen to, it's probably about maybe 9, 10, 11 minutes long. There is this very long, pure musical intro.
Have you revealed the name of this artist yet?
Oh, Lou Reed. I'm sorry. Lou Reed.
Oh, that's the guitarist.
Well, no. I haven't revealed the name of the guitarist
Okay,
yet.
I
I'm
just
about
to make sure I'm following along. Because
Yeah.
I'm like,
So it's a Lou Reed song. Everyone knows this as a Lou Reed song. And you go, and if you listen to it, it's this sort of free-flowing guitar intro that is outstanding in tone, more interesting in composition because it's a slow-moving lead-up to a 4-chord song. And I can't describe how good it is. And you could hear, if you're not watching, the crowd loses their mind when they finally find out what the song is because they just hear this great guitar work. So the 2 guitar players on it, and I actually Googled it. It says in 1973, Reed delivered his best-known version. He hired 2 of the best session guitar players of the time, Steve Hunter and Dick Wagner. So those are the 2 guys. And they trade off on each other. And to listen to it, I get goosebumps.
wow.
This intro, it's long, and you can hear the audience really vibing with it, but they don't know what they're about to hear.
Do you recommend listening to the Lou Reed version also, or before?
Well, this
or
is
after?
the Lou Reed version.
I mean, the Lou Reed's recording of it.
Yes, yeah, because it's a good song when he just does it in the studio, but this live version, it's really long, and every time I listen to it because I know what's coming. And I'm with the audience, not knowing what I'm about to hear, but I know I'm loving it. And their guitar work is just off the charts. Tone, composition, and the thoughtfulness that they know what they're doing. They're playing something very intricate as they're about to start a 4-chord song with a guy who could barely sing, but it doesn't matter that Luke could barely sing,
Right.
And it's just fantastic.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm going to have to click on that link. And
You're going to
check
love
out
it.
myself.
It's really cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Because when it comes to guitar songs, Lou Reed's not the guy that pops into my head first. No,
He's like a Bob Dylan, right? You're not really thinking about that.
right.
Yeah.
Right. All right, my next guy, and I know James McGill, if you're listening or watching this, GT alumnus, you are a huge fan of this next guitar player. And I did a little more of a deep dive on this guitar player and found out things I didn't know. And this is just a few years ago.
Okay.
Neil Giraldo,
Oh my God.
otherwise known as Pat Benatar's husband.
Yeah.
And he got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in like 2022 or whatever. But again, common thing here, a song within a song. His solos are ingenious.
They are.
And they're all a little bit different.
They are.
And so you can go down the Pat Benatar list of songs and listen to the solos for those songs. And they're all, unique and different, and the tones are different and stuff. What I didn't know, and people might call me out on this, how did you not know this? He does the guitar work and solo in Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield.
Oh my God.
I was always a fan of that guitar solo, and I
It's a
found out
great
that he
solo.
did it. And I was like, he does that guitar solo? Wow, that makes sense.
It
Because
does.
it's so, again, being a cover band guy,
I could hear it in my head. That's the key. I could hear it in my head right now.
I had to learn that damn solo, and it was a bitch.
That sounds. I know the 3 chords.
Yeah, well, that was just for starters. When you get into
Yeah.
that solo, hey.
I know. I want your band, by the way. I told you this. I want your band to play the Sammy Hagar tune. I've done everything for you, but Rick Springfield's version.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Neil played on that too.
Yeah, we'd have to check into that.
I think he did. I think that whole record he's on there. He's involved.
Oh, that's very cool. Now, all right.
I saw it when if you search YouTube and find, maybe we'll put the link. a live version of Jesse's Girl, like nowadays, like maybe the last year or two. You got Rick Springfield up there playing Jesse's Girl, and on walks Neil Giraldo off the side of the stage there, holding a guitar, and they stop the entire song right before the solo. And the place is going absolutely apeshit. And then he plays the solo, and it's sick. It's
wow. Sick. You know what? I got to watch that. So here's another thing. God, Todd's coming up twice. Todd and I.
Don't you have any other friends besides Todd Yasui?
I do not.
I may.
Nah. But
Dave has 2 friends, everybody.
That's right. We ironically went to see Rick Springfield at the Cap Center in Maryland.
You saw Rick Springfield?
Actually, it wasn't at the Cap Center. Meriwether Post Pavilion, maybe. The women there, this is like, I don't know, 88? No, 85.
Did you throw your panties on the stage?
I did. But we were standing amongst what to our perception were middle-aged women, which probably meant they were like 28 because we were kids. And the screaming was like you were at a Beatles show.
Right, yeah.
And it was actually painful.
Well, he is handsome.
Yeah. You know who opened for him?
Go ahead.
Corey Hart.
Really? Corey Hart?
That was
the night guy?
He was horrible, but it was fun.
Is that have I got it right?
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. Like
There's
the one-hit
crazy
wonder.
Guitar solo in that stupid song too.
There is, and it's good. Yeah.
Do you remember if he was playing the guitar for that song?
I don't, but I will tell you though. Talk about it. Here's a bonus on our list. He's not one of my official choices. Rick Springfield is a solid guitar player.
Oh yeah,
he's great. And you know that night, you know, we were in John Doe and the Generics, a very famous band, but. He was just solid, and he's really rock and roll through and through. And what sort of killed for so many years his rock and roll credibility was that he was a handsome guy in a soap opera, but he was a rock guy before he was that.
You know, I find that I'm thinking like in my own little brain here.
Yeah.
If you're too good looking, and you shred on guitar, people go, eh.
Yeah, absolutely.
John Mayer.
Yeah.
Amazing guitar player.
And
he gets no credit. He gets a lot of shit from everybody, but he's good.
Yeah.
He's really, really good.
I think right now he's the best there is. To my perspective, I don't think there's. I think he's the most three-dimensional in our world, so to speak. Because remember, I saw him. I saw Dead and Company a couple of months ago in Vegas, and he's in Dead and Company now. He's the best three-dimensional guitar player I've ever seen.
Wow.
Better than Steve Howe, better than Trevor Rabin. You know, just thinking of some great guitar players who are with us right now. The best I've ever seen.
So ugly guitar players get more praise. So I'm in.
Yeah, me too. And I'm not even a good guitar. I'm a shitty guitar player, but my lack of follicles will help.
Your wife would disagree with that statement, but we'll see.
No, she's right.
Is it my turn to go, or is it your turn to go?
No, it's my turn. I did a couple of fake bonus ones.
Jesse's Girl guitar player Neil Giraldo and husband of Pat Benatar. And Dave, your next guitar player.
All right. So when he is not having a fist fight with his brother Chris,
I know where you're going with this.
Rich Robinson,
yeah,
of the Black Crowes, when they came out, I think it was maybe later 80s, early 90s. I called them the saviors of rock and roll, as though it was dead, which it was not. Sort of a Stones-ish kind of band, but they're one of my favorite rock and roll bands, if not my favorite, that is at least around these days. And he does cool stuff with all sorts of tunings. But if you just dig around in their music, at first blush, if you just say Black Crowes, you think, all right, they're just a 1-4-5, basic blues riff kind of band.
What's the song that we should listen to if you want to get a taste?
This is the one. It's open F tuning and it's soul singing. I tried and failed to learn. I mean, I was starting to sort of get it. There's a lot of YouTube tutorials. Some of the bigger guys. Who's one of the best tutorial people out there?
I got to give a shout out to Steve Stein.
That's the one. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Who actually? This is. I didn't plan this segue, but he did help design the Royal for Bootlegger.
Oh, I think you might have told me that.
Yeah.
He did a tutorial, but I thought, all right, I could do this. It's open F tuning, and so I used my little guitar app to do the tuning. And first of all, the song is outstanding.
Yeah,
it is outstanding. And for what it's worth, if you do a YouTube dive, I have yet to find a live version that even touches their studio version. So if you want the really nice tonality, because the song is all about the tuning,
Yeah.
and the tone with the tuning, it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous, and his playing. Talk about servicing the song. It's phenomenal. But he gets the right tone. He doesn't overplay his hand. He doesn't outplay his role within the band, because Chris is such an interesting singer.
Yeah.
But soul singing is my very favorite Black Crowes song. Way back, Talks to Angels is great and all that.
Yeah.
But soul
That's
singing,
another open tuning
yeah.
song.
But you could fake it with conventional tuning with a D.
Yeah.
You could do a really good fake of it, kind of like Honky Tonk Woman.
Right.
When we were all kids, we learned a regular tuning version of that, but it's not right.
No.
But
And you
that's
gotta cut one of your strings off.
You're right. That's the brilliance of Keith Richards. He's running around becoming a godlike zillionaire playing on a 5-string guitar where he doesn't even have to use his left hand.
Did you see? It may not be a viral video, but I saw a video the other day, very very recently, of them and Ron Wood and Keith were having a casual conversation during a goddamn show.
I did see that.
Not even paying attention. So, what are you doing tomorrow? Are we gonna go have some lunch at that place you like? Or I don't know what you're talking about, but it was just,
but it was clear it had nothing to do with. He wasn't saying you're loud or you're out of tune or I'll take the next lead.
Like, hey, I like your shirt.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a great video. Yeah, I did see that. But certainly, and to sort of bring it full circle, Rich Robinson is in that tradition.
Yeah,
but his guitar playing is just next level. And
is he a Les Paul guy, pretty much, or does he?
I don't know that I know that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna guess from the tone. I feel like he's a humbucker guy, but I don't know that he's a humbucker guy.
Looking at my list, Brad Gillis, he just has that one Super Strat that he sort of had for a lot of years. Elliot Easton changes guitars and amps like crazy, and Neil Giraldo, I think, sort of a Telecaster guy, but
Is he
going different directions with his guitars as well? I think he just used whatever tool for the job he needs. He wasn't synonymous with any one single kind of guitar.
Well, I'm going to give you a double now because I only have one person left on my list.
Oh, well, let me talk and then you can go again. Since I have more guys. Steve Stevens.
Yes.
His legendary career with Billy Idol, but he also put out an independent labeled solo project, and that's when I know he was great.
Yeah,
we talked about the Rebel Yell riff a million times on the show, how ingenious it is. But check out a song called "Memory Crash." It's sort of in the vein of a rock instrumental, kind of like Steve Vai type thing.
Yeah,
and he just goes crazy on it. It really, really good.
Oh, I like that.
You can see he really just says, you thought Rebel Yell was something? Hold my beer. Memory Crash. Killer.
I love it.
Killer stuff.
Love it. All right. Here's my next. I was driving on a long drive the other day, and I had a hankering, I tell you.
Is this a country artist?
It is not.
Oh, you
I
said
I know.
Ready to get
I thought so too. No. My Sharona.
Oh, yes.
That is, in my opinion. So here's what I did. It was kind of wacky. My Old School by Steely Dan is my favorite Steely Dan tune, and they have that great lead, right? I decided in my own head that the lead for My Sharona is better. And as I'm on this long drive, I started toggling back and forth between both songs. And I believe that. I believe, and I had to look it up. Burton Avere, Bertonavere, plays the lead solo in My Sharona.
For this show, this is one of those things nobody knows who the hell that is. I don't.
No, and I don't know if he's alive. I don't know anything about him.
I had to learn the solo for a cover band.
It is
a solo that goes on forever and ever. And
it does. It's the tastiest, cleanest, most joyous lead I've ever heard in a pop rock song. And the only word I could really think of that to me aptly describes it is it's joyful. There's a 3-chord progression going behind him. It's not that complicated. And what this fucker does for so long, it's unbridled, It probably is. In reality, it is bridled. I think he probably planned it, but it sounds unbridled. It sounds free, and it just, the way it moves. I could listen to that song 5 times in a row, and I just get so excited when that lead comes in, and I can hear all the notes in my head before they come out.
Aside from solos that are songs within songs, like most of my guys on my list are, I do love a solo that, normally if you're just improvising and playing solos, sometimes you take a little break and you think about what you're going to do next. And this is what, in my opinion, made Stevie Ray Vaughan so great, is the thoughts came from the head to the fingers.
Yeah, right. There's nothing in between.
There's no break.
Yeah.
Now, it could have been a bunch of takes mushed together. I don't know, but it sounds fluid. It doesn't sound choppy.
No.
He goes from one idea to the next, and then when you think it's like, okay, that's a pretty safe choice, he gets a little more creative. Excellent choice. Great solo. What's his name again?
It was, hold on. It is Burton, but not B-U-R. B-E-R-T-O-N. Avere, I guess is the pronunciation. A-V-E-R-R-E.
So his name's not Sharona? That would have been a lot easier.
Yeah, right. First name Mai.
Sharona.
Yeah, right. And Doug Fieger plays the little rhythm guitar on it, but he's the lead guitar and he does some of the vocals. And
that record and that song was, for younger people in our fan base, that song was gigantic. You could not turn on a radio anywhere in the planet without My Sharona coming on. Yeah. You only had to wait about 1 or 2 songs.
Yeah. And it's really that good. And it's the lyrics are a little cringy. But I think these are all studio musicians, these guys. Because I think I remember that when they came out, that they were not, like a garage band kind of. They were almost like a Toto kind of group. Foreshadowing for What I'm Stealing From You.
Even the drum beat is legendary. Those flams. Yeah. Oh, man, what a great song.
Yeah.
That's a solid rock and roll song.
It really and the funny thing is, it's sold like a pop song.
Yeah,
but it's really a rock song.
Yeah, that song was again, like I said, gigantic. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song on the radio. Yeah. On the radio before streaming, where you had to wait for a song to come on,
and you didn't know what it was, and you had no control. We had no control.
You had to wait for Wolfman Jack to spin that disc.
Yeah, that's right.
Or whoever, Dan Ingram, or I don't know, whatever channel, the AM radio.
Now you're all right. Hold on, Dennis Elsis. There, I had to pull a name out of there.
Yeah,
he's still kicking.
By then was probably FM stereo radio, but like a lot of cars didn't have.
No, we listened to AM a lot. Yeah.
So we had a lot of cars didn't have FM stereo. They'd only have one speaker in the middle of the dashboard, and that's all you got.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's my surprise entry.
Okay.
Whatever.
Me.
Dave Cohen.
That's
Dave
right.
Chicka Cohen.
That's right.
So back when I was really getting into the blues and learning some blues licks and stuff, and you got your Steve Ray Vaughns and your B.B. Kings and all that, I started going sort of a deep dive, and I was a big fan of Johnny Winter. You got to meet Johnny at some point, and he was on this like sort of blues compilation album on Alligator Records, real obscure blues record label. But it was like sort of a collection of all their artists on one album. And I'm like, well, that's for me, because I'm not going to buy all these albums. I don't know who these guys are. And there's one song that really, really stuck out to me. And I thought it was like amazing.
Right.
The guy's name is Clarence Gatemouth Brown. Now, is that a blues name or what?
It really, Gatemouth. Yeah.
Skinny old black fellow with a big gigantic hat, And I think this is like way like towards almost to the end of his life, but he had been around for many, many years in the blues scene. Quite a character, and just played with. He had these massive calloused fingers, and he played with his thumb. He didn't use a pick. Anyway, got to check out a song called "Pressure Cooker." This is like his eruption.
Wow!
And there's no singing. Although he was a singer and he played violin and he played guitar. He was multi-instrumental. So I began to look at some of his other material. But on this compilation record was this song called Pressure Cooker. A real quick, jazzy, tempoed thing. And he is...
Wait, how does that go?
Flying on the fretboard.
Wait, how did it go? Like this?
Yeah. He looks
Yeah.
like he fell out of an old folks home onto the stage, and they sat him in a chair.
Okay.
And he's going crazy. There's live video of him playing Pressure Cooker. So either one.
Oh, I'm going to
one
check
of
that
those
one out.
You can look at. I think maybe we'll put up the live video of him playing Pressure Cooker. Probably sometime around the late '80s, early '90s. It was filmed, and I was just like, wow. I still use Clarence Gatemouth Brown licks to this day in my.
Oh, that's very cool.
And nobody knows who he is, so everybody thinks I invented the licks.
Well, now they do. All right,
secret's out.
I love it. I have someone who was actually I was thinking about, decided not to use him. You opted not to use him via text to me, but I'm putting him back on our list now.
Who we got?
So, all right. So this is someone all the serious guitar players know him and love him and say he doesn't belong on the list. So this is geared toward those folks who aren't real super. They're rock enthusiasts, but not guitar enthusiasts, and that's Steve Lukather.
Oh,
brilliant
player.
He's brilliant, and he's all over social media now.
Yeah.
But I went on not a YouTube dive. I go on Apple Music dive. I just decided I have to start listening to Toto again.
Yeah.
And I'll use Rosanna.
Yeah.
Every single aspect of that song is perfect.
That is an intricate solo in that song.
Yeah. And the whole song.
Jeff Piccaro's drum beat with that
oh
music,
my god,
vocals and
the vocals, and again, I wish either you or I could say who's running the studio. The recording quality, it's perfect. That's a perfect song, and everything, almost every song in that album is perfect. I found a few where the writing was, but probably 7 out of 10 songs are perfect. They're literally perfect. And Steve Lukather, you listen to the interviews or you look him up. He's on so much more music than any of us realize.
Well, again, not too in the distant past, maybe 10 years ago, I was learning a song by the Tubes.
Oh, you told me this.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, great tune.
That's
a great tune.
I don't know, one of the Tubes songs. And the solo was great and kind of difficult to learn, to be honest, quite honest with you. It took a solid week for me to nail down the solo, and then I found out I was trying to copy Steve Lukather, and I was like, no wonder I'm having a hell of a time with this song.
Yeah, I saw him last year at that absolutely horrible Ringo Starr concert.
Yeah, he was one of the all-star players.
Yeah. As was Johnny Winter.
Edgar,
right? Because Johnny passed. That's right.
Johnny was already gone.
Yeah.
Johnny just stuck to the blues as long as he could, even if they had to put him in a chair.
Yeah. I saw Johnny, not Edgar. I saw Johnny in 1979 at Madison Square Garden opening for Foreigner.
Wow.
And he was great. I mean, I was a little kid. I was 15. But Steve Lukather, that was in an absolutely horrible concert where I'm telling you, 30-40% of the people there were walking around in their 4-prong walkers, not because they were injured, they were just so old.
I think I saw an earlier version of the All-Star Band, and it was
I hate
it. I don't remember who the big headliners were, but
I hated it. I literally hated it. A lot of
great old songs.
Yeah, I hated the whole concert.
Do you have any other honorable mention?
I do.
Go ahead.
Popped in my head. This is the same category as Steve Lukather. Brian Setzer.
Oh, yes.
He is a perfect guitar player. And I guess Stray Cat Strut only because that's popping in my head, but any of his songs. I love the tone he gets from those big fat hollow bodies.
Oh yeah, those Gretches are
they're phenomenal. And he's and let's not forget his bass player is playing a stand-up acoustic bass. Or at least with pickups, but but his tone, his playing, his musicianship is next level, but it's still got a rock and roll edge about it, as do his vocals, and it's a 3-piece band
that fills a lot of sound.
Yeah.
We know about, power trios and 3-piece bands. Everybody's got to be busy on their instrument, and perfection is, something you got to have in a 3-piece.
Yeah.
It's just, but he is his style of playing is amazing.
And again, like in guitar circles, that his name doesn't belong on this episode. But if there's people watching our show who are rock and roll fans, but not that guitar centered, they might not have that same appreciation for his musicianship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I mean, like, explore and find out. I would never have discovered Clarence Gatemouth Brown, for instance, if I didn't bought that record in a record store.
I can't wait to listen
through
to
Johnny Winter. You know, like, if I wasn't in Johnny Winter, I would have never. I mean, now it's a little easier. Maybe YouTube says, "Hey, you like Johnny Winter? Maybe you'll like Clarence Gatemouth Brown." But that's
true.
It was back then.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, you could travel these roads, or if you just listen, if you hear a song on the radio or streaming or whatever the hell it is, and you're saying, "Wow, that guitar solo is pretty cool. Who does that?" Look up the guy's name or the girl's name. It could be anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be anybody. That's how I just discovered the legendary Jeff Skunk Baxter. He played a lot of guitars on Steely Dan stuff and Doobie Brothers stuff. All those clever little solos. That's him.
I love it.
That's
all right. Who do you have next on your list?
I'm done with my list, but I would like to, if we were talking about Roy Clark earlier, the hee-haw guy, the fat guy in hee-haw. Amazing guitar player. And
yes.
They goofed on him. He wrote this big notes songbook in the 80s, and it was kind of a joke. He is an amazing, accomplished guitar player.
Off the charts.
All-around musician, but his guitar playing is phenomenal. I'm going to say find the episode of the Odd Couple.
Yep, that's the one.
Show where he sits down with an acoustic guitar in a live studio audience and bangs out Malagueña on the acoustic.
I have an honorable mention for us.
Go ahead. I want to hear it.
Sheryl Crow.
Really? Sheryl Crow?
I love Sheryl Crow. She brings in heavy hitters for solos and things like that. But her rhythm work, her composition, I'm a huge Sheryl Crow fan. And her
I did
playing,
not see that coming at all.
her playing is fantastic. I mean, she is a classic singer-songwriter.
Yes.
But she is very competent on guitar, and her playing is delicate when it needs to be, and she's very, very rhythmic, which for Dave Chicka Chicka Cohen, that works for me. But she can be funky, but when she writes a song, and when she plays on it, those rhythms service the song very, very well and create a beautiful sound space.
She had a hell of a time getting signed, if I recall.
Yeah, well,
one place after another, they all said no.
I think she was a bigger singer before she really gained successes, being her own person, like a backup kind of singer or studio singer.
Right. Yeah, she definitely had some of that going for her. But when she was trying to sell her solo work, nobody was interested.
And I think she is off the charts talented. And you know what song I'm going to put on this? Home, Home.
Okay.
I can't swear that she created the guitar work for that. It's ethereal. It's mood setting. Home is an absolutely gorgeous song. Absolutely gorgeous. And I could hear the guitar work just by saying the song. I hear the guitar work in my head right now. It's absolutely beautiful.
And I know he didn't make my list, but I just thought of it today because I was playing one of his songs today, one of his solos. Again, very clever. The great Richie Sambora from Woodbridge, New Jersey, of Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Formerly of Bon Jovi.
That's right.
Sadly, but he has a huge body of work with some pretty ingenious guitar solos as well. He's another guy that's sort of like overlooked. You're too handsome. Don't shred guitar. Nobody's going to give a shit.
Yeah.
You got to ugly yourself up first.
It's true. G.E. Smith.
Perfect. Even G.E. Smith knows he could make a train take a dirt road.
I never heard that. I like that.
That's one for Dad. Happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah.
So, just like that, 44 minutes.
44 minutes, 44.
Yeah.
That was fun.
We're going to do another, I think our next intermezzo we're cooking up, and we're getting some help from you guys. We really appreciate that on Facebook and in the comments.
Yeah.
A band that everybody loves, but you absolutely hate.
And here's our foreshadowing. Did you actually tell me you hate the Stones?
Wait a minute. Don't give anything away, but I'm not.
I think I just did. You can edit it out. We're on tape right now.
Leave it in there. Listen, I'm not alone. The list of bands that people hate in the comments was
something
astounding.
Yeah.
The Eagles are in there. Who was another big band? So Led Zeppelin was in there.
Well,
the Doors are in there.
they're on Pete
The Who's
Townsend's
in
list.
there.
Pete Townsend hates Led Zeppelin, so there
Yeah.
you go.
So
That curmudgeon.
So we're going to expose our innermost self, like Beneath the Planet of the Apes, and talk about the bands that we don't like.
I can't wait.
Just don't get it. And we're going to take a lot of crap for that, but that's okay. That's what drives viewership. Which reminds me, it's on this side.
That's right.
Over here,
it's somewhere.
YouTube has put a little box there. Just put your cursor over that thing or hit it with your finger.
It don't cost no money.
Channel, and it's totally free. We're not going to
cost nothing.
Any stupid emails, and we're not going to call your cell phone asking for a new car warranty.
Yeah, get us to 10,000 on YouTube. That'll be pretty cool.
Yes. And over on my TikTok page, in a small segue, I posted something about Journey. Greg Raleigh was the keyboard guy in Journey in the beginning, singing songs, and I was kind of goofing on him, like he's sort of a 70s lounge lizard type singer.
Yeah.
And then along comes Steve Perry in the very next verse in the same song, and that to me was like, whoa, that's the sound. That guy's amazing.
Yeah.
If I was Greg Raleigh, I'd be pooping my pants on the piano bench.
Yeah.
And then not everybody, a lot of people agree with me, but some people are like, he was amazing. He was in Santana. He sang Black Magic. I'm like, I'm not saying he stinks.
But he ain't no Steve Perry.
I'm saying he ain't no Steve Perry.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
He was a regular, efficient singer.
Yeah.
And boy, I think it's up to 50,000 views now, and I don't know how many thousands of comments. So the point I'm trying to make is, when we do this next Intermezzo show, we're going to get crapped on hard.
Yeah, that's okay.
It will drive the viewership.
And just hit a subscribe, because if you're we're not making money on this, by the way, not much anyway. But we do it for fun. So if you subscribe, it makes it easier for us to get the show to you.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's end the show with our friend Bumblefoot.
Perfect.
Okay, guys. We'll see you next time on
Guitar Tales.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Ron Bumblefoot Thole, and you're watching Guitar Tales.